Think back to the last time you felt that sharp twist in your stomach when you saw someone succeed. Maybe a colleague got promoted. Maybe an old classmate posted about their new house. Maybe someone in your field won an award you've been chasing. Now think about the billionaire who just bought their third yacht, the Olympic gold medalist, the Nobel Prize winner in a field you've never studied. Feel different, doesn't it? The second group barely registers. But that first group? They can keep you up at night. This tells us something profound about how jealousy actually works. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your emotions, or your potential, the same way again. Jealousy operates on a proximity scale, but not the kind you might think. Physical distance barely matters. What matters is psychological distance, how close someone is to your own identity, your own capabilities, your own path. When someone light years away from your life succeeds, you feel nothing, maybe even inspiration. But when someone who started where you started, who had what you had, who you believed was fundamentally like you, when they succeed, it cuts deep. Why? Because their success holds up a mirror, and what you see reflected back challenges everything you've been telling yourself about why you haven't achieved the same things. When your college roommate starts a successful company, you can't use the excuses that protect you when you see someone completely different succeed. You went to the same school. You had access to the same resources. You started from the same place. The billionaire's success doesn't threaten you because their world is incomprehensible. But your roommate's success? That threatens the very narrative you've constructed about yourself. Your brain is constantly running comparisons, but not random ones. You don't compare yourself to everyone. You compare yourself to people within your reference group, people who occupy a similar space in terms of background, opportunities, or starting points. This is why professional athletes don't feel jealous of surgeons, and surgeons don't feel jealous of artists. The domains are too different. Success in one doesn't say anything about your potential in another. But put two artists together who started at the same time, with the same training, the same opportunities. Now every success one achieves feels like a judgment on the other's choices, effort, or talent. The painful truth jealousy reveals is this: when someone very much like you achieves something you haven't, you can no longer hide behind explanations of luck, privilege, or circumstance, because they had the same luck, the same privilege, the same circumstances, or at least close enough that your brain won't let you use those as comfortable excuses. Psychologists talk about something called the counterfactual self, the version of you that could have existed if you'd made different choices. When you feel jealous, you're actually confronting a counterfactual version of yourself. That person who got the promotion? They represent what you could have become if you'd networked more, worked different hours, taken different projects, or advocated for yourself differently. They're walking proof that your path was possible because they took it, and they started from a place similar enough to yours that the comparison feels valid. This is why jealousy stings so uniquely. You're not just watching someone else succeed. You're watching a version of what you could have been succeed while you remain where you are. The gap between them and you feels like a gap between who you are and who you could have been. The jealousy you feel is actually proof of something important. You recognize the achievement as within your capabilities. You don't feel jealous of people doing things you genuinely believe you cannot do. You feel jealous when you believe, deep down, that you could have done it too. A person who has never touched a piano doesn't feel jealous of concert pianists. But someone who studied piano for years and gave it up, that jealousy can be overwhelming. Because every performance they see whispers, "This could have been you." The intensity of your jealousy maps directly onto your perception of capability. The more you believe you could have achieved what someone else achieved, the stronger the emotional response. Your jealousy is your psyche's way of telling you, this matters to you because you see yourself reflected in this achievement. When someone in your reference group succeeds, They don't just achieve something, they threaten your identity. You've constructed a story about who you are, what you're capable of, and why you've made the choices you've made. Their success challenges that story. Maybe you've told yourself you value work-life balance, so that's why you didn't pursue that aggressive career path. Then someone from your graduate program achieves major career success while also having a rich personal life. The story you told yourself to feel okay about your choices suddenly has holes in it. Maybe you've told yourself your field is too competitive, too based on connections you don't have, too saturated for anyone new to break through. Then someone from your exact background, with no special connections, breaks through. The protective story crumbles. These stories aren't lies exactly. They're narratives we construct to make sense of our lives and protect our self-esteem. But when someone like us succeeds, those narratives are stress-tested, and often they fail the test. Beneath jealousy lies fear. Fear that you've made wrong choices, fear that you've wasted time, fear that you're not as talented or capable as you believed, fear that you've let yourself down. When you see someone succeed at something you believe you could have succeeded at, the question echoes in your mind, why not me? And that question is terrifying because it demands answers you may not want to face. Did you not work hard enough? Did you not want it badly enough? Did you give up too soon? Did you let fear hold you back? Are you not as good as you thought you were? The person you're jealous of becomes a living reminder of these questions. Every post they make, every achievement they rack up, forces you to confront those uncomfortable possibilities about yourself. There's a specific zone where jealousy flourishes most intensely. Too far from achievement and you feel nothing. The success is too distant to seem possible. Too close to achievement and you feel motivated rather than jealous. You can see your own path there clearly. But right in the middle, where success seems just possible enough that you can imagine it, but just distant enough that you haven't achieved it, jealousy thrives. This is the proximity of possibility zone. Someone in your field publishing a book triggers jealousy because you could write a book. You have the skills, the knowledge, maybe even ideas. The possibility is real but unrealized, and watching someone else realize it feels like watching the door close on your own opportunity. The person who's achieved something far beyond your current skills, you admire them. The person who's achieved something you know you could achieve, you envy them. Once you understand this mechanism, jealousy transforms from a shameful feeling into useful information. The intensity and target of your jealousy is actually a map of your unrealized potential. What makes you most jealous? That's probably what matters most to you. Who makes you most jealous? That's probably the path you could have taken, or still could take. The specific nature of your jealousy reveals your deepest values and your most pressing regrets. When you feel that twist of envy, you can ask, what does this tell me about what I actually want? What capability does this remind me I have? What choice does this reveal I might be regretting? Jealousy is energy, potent, uncomfortable energy, but energy nonetheless. The question becomes, what do you do with it? Most people try to suppress it, deny it, or feel ashamed of it. This is understandable, but wasteful. That energy could be redirected. First, acknowledge it. You feel jealous because you recognize yourself in someone else's success. You see the capability, the opportunity, the path. That recognition, painful as it is, confirms something important. You know you could do this. Second, interrogate it. Don't just sit with the feeling. Ask it questions. Why this particular achievement? Why this particular person? What specifically triggers the response? Be honest with yourself. The answers contain vital information about your own desires and beliefs about yourself. Third, decide. This is the crucial moment. Does this jealousy point toward something you actually want to pursue? Or does it point toward a path you've consciously chosen to leave behind? Sometimes jealousy reveals a genuine desire you've been ignoring or suppressing. The colleague's promotion stings because you do want career advancement, but you've been telling yourself you don't care about it. The jealousy breaks through the story you've been telling yourself and reveals what you actually feel. In those cases, let the jealousy galvanize you. Use it as fuel. Someone like you did this, which means you can do it too. That's the message. Not, you failed, but this is possible for you. Other times, jealousy reveals not a genuine desire, but a comparison you haven't consciously rejected. Maybe you don't actually want what they have, but you haven't fully accepted your own different path. You need to consciously choose your own direction and release the comparison. Releasing unhelpful comparisons requires active work. You must consciously acknowledge that different paths serve different values and goals. The person you're jealous of optimized for different things than you did. They made different trade-offs. Their success in their chosen area doesn't diminish your success in yours. This isn't just positive thinking. This is recognizing that capability is not one-dimensional. You could have had their achievement, but only if you'd made their choices, their trade-offs, their sacrifices. Are you willing to make those? If yes, begin. If no, stop letting their choices haunt yours. When jealousy points toward genuine desire, you have a choice. Stay where you are and continue feeling jealous, or move toward what you want. The person you're jealous of has actually given you a gift, proof that what you want is achievable. They had similar starting conditions, similar capabilities, similar opportunities. They're not magical. They're not impossibly different. They just did it. This means the path exists. You can study it. You can learn from it. You can adapt it to your specific situation. Their success is not evidence of your failure. It's evidence of your potential. Break down what they did. What skills did they build? What risks did they take? What habits did they form? What did they prioritize? What did they sacrifice? Look at their path with curiosity rather than envy. Learn from it. Then build your own version. You don't need to copy their exact path, but you can learn from their choices, their strategies, their timeline. If they could do it, you can do something similar, if you're willing to put in similar effort and make similar commitments. One warning: don't fall into the timeline trap. Just because someone achieved something at age 30 doesn't mean you failed if you're 35 and haven't achieved it yet. Life paths aren't races with fixed checkpoints. The person you're jealous of might have started earlier, or had different circumstances that accelerated their timeline, or simply prioritized differently. Their timeline is not a judgment of yours. What matters is whether you're moving in the direction you want to move. Are you building toward what you want, even if you're not there yet? That's success in process. The person you're jealous of was once where you are now, also not yet having achieved what they later achieved. Perhaps most importantly, jealousy often reveals narrow definitions of success that don't serve you. You feel jealous of the visible achievements, the promotion, the book, the award, the recognition. But you're not seeing the full picture of someone's life. That successful colleague might be miserable. That published author might be struggling in other areas. That award winner might have sacrificed things you value deeply. You're comparing your complete life to their highlight reel, and then feeling inadequate. This doesn't mean their achievements aren't real or valuable, but it means you need to define success for yourself, not accept others' definitions uncritically. What do you actually value? What do you actually want your life to look like? If you could have exactly the life you wanted, what would it include? Often, when you answer these questions honestly, you realize the things you're jealous of don't actually align with your deepest values. You've been feeling jealous because you absorbed cultural messages about what success looks like, not because you genuinely want those specific things. Finally, extend compassion to yourself. Jealousy is uncomfortable, sometimes embarrassing, but it's profoundly human. Every person you know has felt it. The people you're jealous of feel jealous of others. This is part of being human, having desires, having potential, and living in a social world where we can't help but compare ourselves to others. You're not a bad person for feeling jealous. You're a person with aspirations confronting the gap between where you are and where you could be. That's uncomfortable, but it's also the space where growth happens. Be gentle with yourself while also being honest. Yes, you feel jealous. Yes, this reveals something about what you want or fear. Yes, you need to decide what to do with this information. But no, you don't need to berate yourself for the feeling itself. Every time you feel that surge of jealousy, you're at a crossroads. One path leads to resentment, comparison, and stagnation. You stay stuck, feeling bad, watching others succeed while you explain to yourself why you can't. The other path leads to honest self-examination, conscious choice, and directed action. You use the jealousy as information. You let it reveal what you really want. You decide whether to pursue it or release it, and then you act accordingly. The person who triggered your jealousy didn't succeed to hurt you. They succeeded because they took actions, made choices, persisted through difficulties. They weren't fundamentally different from you when they started. The difference is in the accumulation of choices and actions over time, which means you can make different choices starting now, today, this moment. Your jealousy is actually respect in disguise. You respect what they achieved enough to wish you had achieved it too. That respect can become motivation. That motivation can become action. That action can become your own version of the achievement that once made you jealous. The capability you recognize in them, you have in yourself. That's why it stings. That's why it matters. That's why the jealousy cuts so deep. Because some part of you knows, truly knows, that you could do this too. The only question left is, will you? Remember, jealousy is a compass, not a prison. It points toward possibility, not limitation. The people who make you most jealous are showing you what's achievable for someone like you. They're not your obstacles. They're your proof of concept. Use that information. Honor it. Act on it. Your potential is calling. Jealousy is just its uncomfortable voice.